Today we have Murray Stenton as our special guest. He's joining us over Skype from just outside of Halifax in Nova Scotia. He is a children's book author as well as a comic illustrator responsible for the Domesticated Man and comics Ragnar, which can be found on the Torch in our entertainment section. So we're so happy to have you with us here today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, during the day, I'm a mild-mannered graphic designer, art director, and in the evening, I do contract illustration work, mostly things that I enjoy, like cartoons or children's books, that sort of thing. Anything that's really fun. I only do it if it's enjoyable. I don't need to do it. So I've been in marketing and design for about 15 years, and I've been doing the illustration. Well, I've been doodling forever, but I've been doing contract illustration work for probably the last 4 or 5 years. And I've supplied my various cartoon strips to a couple different websites, different characters, some political cartoons, and I have 3 kids, wonderful wife, and we just kind of push through the day. We have a special needs son who's 13, and his name's Ethan. He is developmentally about 4 years of age. So that makes life on a daily basis a bit of a challenge, but we make the most of it. And recently I've done a children's book that kind of tells his story, as well as my middle boy's kind of take on the whole thing.
Okay. So your children's book, that's inspired then by your son and your family's daily life?
It is, yeah. It's inspired by both my boys, really. Ethan being, of course, the special needs son, but my other little boy, Carter, he's had to kind of deal with the challenges of having a special needs sibling for his entire life. And, you know, that's a lot to deal with for a little boy who's, you know, they used to share a room, and there sometimes would be paramedics coming in the middle of the night to look after Ethan, who had a seizure, and Carter's just sitting there watching the whole thing go down, and, you know, and trying to deal with just his brother as a whole, because really he's kind of the big brother, even though he's only 8 and Ethan's 13. He has to be the big brother, and sometimes that's hard to deal with, you know. And I wanted to show his side of the story. You know, everybody knows what Ethan's gone through, at least people that are close to us, and you know, the struggles of medically for children with special needs and cerebral palsy and all those different things. But it's not always talked about, you know, the feelings that the siblings go through. And we were starting to see that Carter was having some difficult times and hard times dealing with, you know, life in general in our crazy household. So I thought I'd try and tell that story, so other kids like him know that they're not alone.
What's your book called?
My book's called My Brother is Special, a cerebral palsy story. And it's published by a company called Loving Healing Press.
Cool. So at what age did you realize you enjoyed drawing and creating at a higher level?
I've been doing it for fun for as long as I can remember, but I think the first instance that really sticks out would be when I was probably around 13. I thought that I was going to be, you know, the next big syndicated cartoonist at 13. You know, I was going to be the next Jim Davis or, the next Charles Schultz. So I had a comic that I was doing at the time. I think it was called Gerby. It's about a little dog. So I did a bunch of these cartoons up, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I asked my parents to mail them to the local Herald, and they got them, and they got this letter from this 13-year-old kid with a bunch of rudimentary drawings, and they had no idea what to do with it. So they sent it to the only person that they knew of at the time was their political cartoonist by the name of Bruce McKinnon. And he was just starting his career, basically, and he was nice enough to write this little boy a handwritten letter telling me to kind of keep going, keep at it. And what I liked about it was he didn't really talk to me like I was a little kid. He kind of, maybe he understood, I guess, because he probably was kind of the same when he was little, so and I kept going after that. Yeah, you have to get a career. I did that, and I followed my design route to pay the bills and create a career, but I never really left behind the doodling and the drawing and the cartooning completely. And then recently, actually with the invention of Kijiji, I started reaching out to people and finding little jobs here and there, and that's kind of how the contract work started, as far as illustrating, anyway.
There you go. So what inspired your comics Ragnar of the 21st Century and The Domesticated Man, which is on our website?
Well, The Domesticated Man is pretty much me, so that was easy. And I know a lot of guys like me who, like to think we're tough and rugged, but we're family guys now and have kids and minivans and, pop-up campers. And, we pickle, we do preserves and silly things like that now because we're old and domesticated. So it was kind of easy to poke fun at that. And, maybe there might be a couple of friends' stories in amongst the inspirations to some of those cartoons as well. So that was easy. And as far as Ragnar, it was just, I don't know. I was watching a lot of Vikings at the time, and I liked the idea of this, rugged, rough Viking being thrust into, social media and modern day craziness. So, and again, it's so easy to just take the ideas from everyday life. So, and in a lot of ways, I can relate to him as well, because even being a graphic designer, there's still a lot of technical things that I'm not up on, like if I need my phone, something done with my phone, I hand it over to my wife because I'm not technical in that way. So, so I can relate to him too, I think.
So you have 2 series featured with us at The Torch, as well as other illustrations you said you work on and other comic series. How does it feel to know that something you've created is enjoyed each week by so many people?
It's awesome. It's funny because, with the invention of the internet kind of took away some things, like, it's harder to become a syndicated cartoonist and that sort of thing. But on the other hand, with so many websites looking for good content, it also opens up a lot of doors, and the Torch opened up a door for me to kind of get my 2 favorite comics out there. So, and to find out that people are, being an artist or cartoonist or whatever it might be, an author, sometimes you just kind of feel surprised that people are, enjoying it, like, because you just, sat down in front of the TV and doodled out this comic or worked on this book in your spare time, and then to realize that people are actually looking at it and laughing, or going back to the site to see the next one feels great, and wasn't sure, if that would ever really happen. So I'm really happy with it.
That must be really fulfilling to know the artwork is enjoyed and appreciated by others. Yeah. So what's next for your career as an author and illustrator? Well,
I'm working on another book that's kind of not really a children's book, but it's, I don't know what you'd call it, maybe just a cartoon / joke book. I guess it's going to be like an illustration that goes along with a cartoon, a joke, and it's going to be published by a company here called McIntyre Purcell Publishing, and it's going to be a 100-page color book, and we're hoping to have it out for Christmas, and it's going to be called Rugged or Non-Rugged, and it for this book I'm partnering with a very interesting character by the name of Rugged Dude Carson. He is a outdoor enthusiast, entertainer, I guess we call him, and we're working on this book together, and so that's going to be my next published book, and I'm kind of excited about it because it's kind of closer to the, the illustrations are very similar to the Ragnar and Domesticated Man cartoons, so this will be kind of like my first comic style publication. So I'm pretty excited about that, and certainly will share that with everyone as soon as it's on the shelves.
Are you working on any new comic series?
Just more of the Ragnar and Domesticated Man. I have done all kinds over the years, but those are the two that I seem to have the most fun with right now. So I'm just kind of trying to build up a collection of both of those.
Very cool. What would you tell someone who wants to get into the industry and to create a children's book or to write their own comic series? Would you have any advice for them?
Just keep trying. There's, like I said, there's a lot of different avenues to take when it comes to publishing books nowadays. And you would be surprised. I mean, I didn't think that getting a book published would be so quick. And I submitted it to a couple people and a couple small publishing companies, and they both, we had two that were interested right away. So don't be afraid to show people. Don't be afraid to submit your work. And, if it gets rejected, you just keep trying. It's the same old thing, really. If you're persistent enough and, it's good enough, then it will happen eventually. And, you may not get rich doing it, but it depends, I guess, on why you're doing it. I'm doing it for the fun and to leave something behind, I guess my hope is that 30 or 40 years from now, someone will find an old stack of books and dust them off and find my book sitting there and kind of wonder who this guy was, and, long after I'm gone. So it's just something to leave, I guess. Hopefully I won't be leaving anytime soon, so.
Not many people are lucky enough to pursue a career that they enjoy so much, so that's really awesome that you're able to do that.
It is. I've been really lucky. Even in my design and art director career that I do during the day, I enjoy that a lot as well. So I'm lucky for sure.
So where can people go to find out more about your books, your comics? Where can we keep up with you?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have my own website right now, but they can always visit The Torch anytime to see my comics. And my book is available, barnesandnoble.com, Chapters, Amazon, of course, and I'm not sure if most bookstores will order it in for you. I'm not sure if most of them don't really have it on the shelf right now. But most of the people I know have been using barnesandnoble.com. It seems to be the fastest and the best price. So that's where I would recommend. And that way, you're good whether you're in Canada, US.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Everyone be sure to check out his children's book online. You can find it at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. My Brother is Special, a cerebral palsy story. And of course, check out his comics at The Torch online. He posts a new one every week. And thank you so much again. We've enjoyed talking to you.